see a lot of people showing official Catholic documents saying that the church believes that there is no salvation outside of the Catholic Church, which is accurate, but missing a lot of context. The document you want to be looking at is called Lumen Gentium, specifically sections 14 through 17. The understanding is that since the Catholic Church is the church founded by Christ and given the ability to never bind error to truth or truth to error, and the ability to forgive or retain forgiveness of sins, that because of that, salvation is connected directly to that church. That being said, that doesn't mean that everyone who's Catholic and has gone to Mass and said the prayers is going into heaven. It actually points out that because you're in the church, you know the truths of faith, you will be judged by God more harshly. So Catholics who aren't fully living out their faith, will they go to heaven? We can't say for sure, but they will be judged more. Not gonna lie, Catholic guilt is real. However, if you follow the commands of God, not because of legalism, of if I check these boxes, I get to enter into the pearly gates, but because if you love me, you will keep my commandments, as Christ said, then you do get to go to heaven. To some sense, Catholics can be sure about their salvation. Now, if we read further, that doesn't mean that anyone who isn't attending Catholic Church is immediately excluded from ever entering heaven. In the same way that it wouldn't make sense if a Catholic only ever went to Mass and never really applied it to their life, but they would get to go to heaven because they go to a certain church, it also doesn't make sense that somebody who is living a faithful life, following God's commandments more than that casual or lapsed or laid-back Catholic, doesn't get to enter heaven because they don't go to a specific church, which is the question that the rest of the sections of Lumen Gentium are talking about. Put incredibly simply, we would like to believe that if someone is trying to follow where God is leading them in their life, both intellectually, physically, spiritually, etc., and that they never find truth and then stubbornly reject it for whatever reason, then God recognizes that as a connection to him and that person could get into heaven. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't matter what church you go to. The Catholic Church is the fullness of truth, and as such, you want to be in the fullness of faith if you want to be closest to the fullness of God. But regardless, just because you go to a certain church on Sunday doesn't mean that you immediately have an entry ID pass into heaven. You'd be pretty hard-pressed to find a Christian who disagrees that the purpose of our life is to know God, love him, and serve him. And if we live for the reason that we were made, then salvation is there for us.